up? This is JP from Off the Ball Network giving you a recap of Week 6 of college football, where we saw the king of football went down by Texas A&M in a thriller. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe down below to Off the Ball Network for all your sports needs. Check out our social media platforms and follow us, and check us out on OffTheBallNetwork.com. You don't want to miss anything, breaking news, anything with sports. Shout out to the guys from Off the Ball Network. There's so many articles you can read, so many podcasts you can watch. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of betting too as well. So check out OffTheBallNetwork.com. Let's go ahead and get into it, where we saw the best team in South Carolina right now, Coastal Carolina, number 15 team, beating Arkansas State 52-20. Grayson McCall, another performance, 18 out of 23, 365 yards and 4 touchdowns. Shamari Jones, 10 carries, 113 yards, 1 touchdown. Isaiah Likely had himself a monster game, 8 receptions, 232 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, they scored each and every single quarter in double figures. Coastal Carolina 52-20. Cincinnati put up another good game, 52-3 against Temple. Sorry, Bill Cosby. Desmond Riddle had himself a really good game, 22 out of 30, 259 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jerome Ford, Jerome in the house with 15 carries, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. Alec Peels, 6 receptions, 93 yards and a touchdown. Cincinnati had no problem. They are still undefeated. So was Coastal Carolina, 52-3 Cincinnati. Stanford versus Arizona State, where we see Arizona State beat Stanford 28-10. Tanner McKee, 27 out of 45, 356 yards, 1 touchdown. Ricard Wright, 13 carries, 96 yards, 1 touchdown for Arizona State. And pretty much, I mean, you know, Arizona State held their own, and you know, Stanford just couldn't get it together. They just couldn't get it together offensively. But LSU pulled off a miracle with an epic lateral interception for the touchdown. So congratulations to Arizona State. Man, the king of football, Alabama, the number 1 team, with, you know, Bryce Young gonna be the breakout star, you know, this year, leading in the Heisman candidate votes, going up against Texas A&M, who is not ranked. Texas A&M, it was a thriller, kind of a close thriller on the last play field goal, and Bryce Young, 20 out of 48, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns. You know, Brian Robinson Jr., Jameson Williams, they just couldn't beat A&M. A&M defeated Alabama 41-38. It made everyone that hates Alabama smile and can breathe and can go to their jobs happy, can go to church happy, praising the Lord, go out to eat praising. They don't even care they have to spend extra money on anything. Like, guys, you know, impressing their girls, because Alabama lost. Alabama lost. So now Georgia's the number 1 team, and man, I tell you what, exciting for Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher too as well. Beat down the number 1 team in the SEC too as well. So congratulations to Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M was beating them pretty good, you know, at the beginning, and then Alabama started coming back, but it wasn't enough. Alabama, it was not enough. So now the number 1 team, Georgia, going up against Auburn, it wasn't even close. 34-10. Stetson Bennett, 14 out of 21, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zamir Wright, 18 carries, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ladd McConkey, 5 receptions, 135 yards, 1 touchdown. Bennett was just hitting him. So congratulations to Georgia, number 1 team, 34-10. Iowa, the second best team, going against Penn State, a really close game. You know, at the beginning you saw, you know, Penn State kind of had like a little edge in the first half, and then they only scored 3 points in the second half, so that's really terrible, really terrible. Iowa sealed their win with an interception to remain undefeated. Spencer Petra, 17 out of 31, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Goodson, 25 carries, 88 yards. Nico Wangani, 4 receptions, 73 yards, 1 touchdown. Iowa stays undefeated against Penn State. First loss for Penn State, 23-20. Oklahoma versus Texas, where we saw pretty much a beatdown at the beginning by Texas. It was pretty bad. It was 28-7 in the first quarter. It was pretty bad. We thought Oklahoma was about to lose, and they made a miraculous comeback. It was just amazing. Like, They pulled off an epic comeback in the after a wild fourth quarter, scoring 25 points in the fourth quarter. It was just unbelievable, Oklahoma, and they stayed undefeated, 55-48 on just a miracle comeback there. Casey Thompson played really well from Texas, 20 out of 34, 388 yards, 5 touchdowns. Was really impressed. Kennedy Brooks from Oklahoma, 25 carries, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy from Texas, 9 receptions, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oklahoma with the victory over Texas. Ohio State versus Maryland wasn't much of a game. 66-17. Goodness gracious, Ohio State. C.J. Stroud, 24 out of 33, 406 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, him and Garrett Wilson, they connected with 2 touchdowns and just a blowout. Trayvon Henderson, 16 carries, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Olave decided to give him a little bit more of a beatdown. 7 receptions, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wasn't even close. Ohio State gave him the Buckeye on Maryland. Michigan versus Nebraska. Michigan stays undefeated. Very close game, 32-29. Hashan Haskins from Michigan, 21 carries, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. Adrian Martinez from Nebraska played well, 18 out of 28, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wamil Johnson from Nebraska played good too, 6 receptions, 105 yards, 1 touchdown. Nebraska scoring 22 points in the third quarter. It was 13-0 in the first half. Nebraska exploded for 22 points, and Michigan just kind of survived. They basically survived right there against Nebraska. Boise State versus BYU. BYU was still going undefeated, and they lost at home to Boise State, 26-17. Ooh-wee, man. Wow. Boise State was scored after forcing BYU with the fumble. Oh, BYU. Oh my goodness gracious. Boise State, I mean, BYU was winning, in the first quarter, 10-3. Boise State exploded for 17 points in the second quarter and pretty much just stayed consistent, just scoring 3 points in the third and 3 points in the fourth. BYU couldn't do anything in the third quarter offensively. They really just couldn't. So 26-17 Boise State. Michigan State versus Rutgers, 31-13. Peyton Thorne, 16 out of 27, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker III, 29 carries, 232 yards, 1 touchdown. Jalen Allen had a good game, 5 receptions, 221 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 31-13 Michigan State. Arkansas versus Ole Miss. Very clutch game right here. Really thriller game, 1-point game, where we saw, Ole Miss destroyed Arkansas at the beginning. 21-14, but it was just a back and forth game. In the second half, it was really good. Ole Miss stopped Arkansas on a 2-point conversion to seal the win. 52-51 Ole Miss. Oh man, it was a really good game. Shout out to both teams. That was a really good game. Notre Dame versus Virginia Tech, another close game, 32-29 Notre Dame. Keon Williams, 19 carries, 74 yards, 1 touchdown. So Notre Dame pretty much, fought back, in the final minutes to escape at Virginia Tech. So 32-29 Notre Dame. LSU versus Kentucky. LSU, just after that championship, they just went downhill ever since then. I mean, they couldn't do anything in the first half, and they scored 21 in the second half, but it was already too late. 42-21 Kentucky. Wake Forest, who probably might end up winning the ACC since Clemson and North Carolina couldn't get themselves together as we thought they would, back in the preseason, where we thought we were going to see North Carolina Clemson collide in the ACC championship, and they just can't do anything this year. They just couldn't do anything this year. But Wake Forest, we always talk about who's that one team that's sleeping, that people sleeping on the ACC, and I say Wake Forest because they got some good weapons offensively, and they prove it. They're the number 9 team. They prove it. They're a ranked team now, but it was a close game. It was 40-37 on a Perry touchdown. But yeah, Sam Hartman, 19 out of 32, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns. A.T. Perry, 3 receptions, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, it was a really good game, and it went into overtime too as well. So shout out to both teams. Then we have Florida versus Vanderbilt. Florida 42-0. I mean, just 42-0. I mean, Emory Jones 14 out of 22, 273 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jacob Copeland with a 25-yard receiving touchdown, hit 5 receptions, 79 yards. Man, Florida just put the beating on Vanderbilt and never let up too as well. SMU versus Navy, 31-24. Tano Mokai, I can't pronounce his name, Mordecai, 30 out of 40, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. Reggie Robinson Jr., 5 receptions, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. SMU picking up the victory. San Diego State versus New Mexico, where we saw San Diego State 31-7 over New Mexico. Jordan Brookside, 11 out of 24, 130 yards. Greg Bell, 21 carries, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, San Diego State started fast and never let up. And that was the recap of college football over the weekend in Week 6. And I want to address something before we get off here. Well, we saw that a guy got killed in his Alabama home because he was rooting for A&M and got shot and killed in his home. People, it's not that serious to go and kill somebody or shoot somebody because they don't agree with you or don't root for your team. You got to take it to the chin. You got to take an L sometimes. You got to. You don't want to be. You more of a dumbass for going to jail now, and then you're gonna get sentence and everything just because you let somebody who roots for Texas A&M to be in your head and you decide to shoot them. I mean, what stupid person would do that? What stupid person would do that? It's just like Jordan and LeBron debate. Look, it's all fun until somebody gets hurt. And when somebody gets hurt, it's no need. It's just ridiculous. It is stupid. So the guy that's in jail that shot and killed that person in the Alabama home, you are a dumbass. And if, there's Donkey of the Days, you're definitely going to be on it front page. I mean, your face got to be right on it right here just to show you how much of a dumbass you are for just killing somebody over some stupidness just because Alabama lost. Shame on you. Shame on you. Excuse my language, everybody. Hopefully kids not watching this, though. But comment down below, though, of your thoughts of Week 6. Going to go into Week 7. I'm excited for it. If you like this video, please press that like button. And subscribe down below to Off the Ball Network for all your sports needs. Check out offtheballnetwork.com. And also follow us on our social media platforms. I'm JP, and we are out of here. Peace.